part 3 of the 9 tactical tips for your group or team programs. This segment is going to be exploring tips 7, 8, and 9. As we've seen in past posts, we've looked at benefits and description, the 7 times rule, talking about marketing materials and registration. In this last section, I want to cover 3 more plus 1 bonus tip areas. And tip number 7 is going to get you to think about, when are you offering your programs? Is this a monthly program, weekly, annual? Let people know when you're going to offer it next. We're also going to look a little bit at pricing. Now, not to set an actual price point, but give you some questions for you to think about and perhaps areas for you to explore as you go about setting your pricing for any upcoming programs. Tip number 9 is going to go into some additional marketing opportunities that you may have once you get people in the room or on the phone line. And I'm adding in an extra bonus tip which you'll need to stay tuned for, which is one of my favorites. It's a really key follow-up activity, but it's also really important for marketing and keeping the conversation going. So look forward to wrapping up with our 9 tactical tips with these last 3. Tip number 7, I've entitled, When Will You Offer It Next? This goes against the grain, the conventional grain of only offer one program at a time. In fact, what I've found over the years with my clients is many of them need more time, more lead time in order to jump into a program. So it's been very useful for myself and also my client base to know what is the programming phase. And I get you to think about what you have to offer. Is this a program that you're offering once a year? Quarterly? Is it a monthly virtual program? And in fact, it is that understanding on the part of my clients which really helps them to look ahead and say, not available this month, but what do you have coming in June or October? So tip number 7 gets you to think about, when will you offer your program next? Think about what vehicles you're going to use to communicate. And as we said right at the start, remember that 7 to 11 times rule. Are you doing something with your list? Are you putting it out in monthly e-newsletters? If you're doing a program, how far in advance do you want to let your people know about it? Historically, I've found that in-person programs take longer to fill than virtual programs. Find it very easy to even announce upcoming virtual programs, say, in the same month that it's launching, because my members, again, understand that I will be offering programs on a quarterly or monthly basis. These are not guidelines. These are really just some questions to be asking yourself. What works for my business may not work for your people. So think about, when you want to offer it next, how will you communicate this? And most importantly, how far in advance do you want to announce programs? Before you move on to tip number 7, make some notes for yourself. When will you offer this next? So tip number 8 is all about pricing. Pricing can really be a big question mark for a lot of coaches, trainers, and other professionals. Couple of things to keep in mind as you're going about thinking of pricing. Number 1, this idea of the marketing funnel, which you see here on the slide. In developing any products or services or programs for your own business, you'll want to get really clear on, where does each program reside? What is at the top of the funnel, which may be more appealing for a wider cross-section, where the programs are free or no fee. Moving up, and as you notice things start to get tapered, you move into a lower price point, a mid-price point, and a higher price point. As you think about pricing for whichever program you're designing, where is it in your overall mix of things you offer through your business? In fact, one of the activities which might be useful in the bigger context is to have you outline at each one of these areas what you have at each place. Another key part of the pricing equation is thinking through, how much time will it really take? So there is, of course, the direct implementation of any group calls and or individual work that you're doing. How much additional administration time is it going to take every week? And do you have any design time that you want to include in the pricing? I tend to do a little bit of work with worksheets, and in fact, if any of you do have a copy of my book, From One to Many, Best Practices for Team and Group Coaching, you can find a copy of the digital worksheet there. You'll want to think through if some of your costs are absorbed. For example, many of the group programs that I've designed over the years run regularly. So I design them once, and yes, while there may be some small tweaks, it's pretty much a similar program from Group A to Group B to Group C to Group D. When I run team programs, that's a little bit more customized in my world. So in fact, when I'm looking at pricing for a corporate engagement, there is usually design time that's also built into facilitation rates. A final consideration with pricing is what's comparable. You'll want to think about, if in your own business or across businesses with others in your local area, what is a going rate? And this is where professional associations can be really very useful in terms of providing you with some guidance around what is market rate for that type of program or service. So a quick activity for you under tip number 8 is for you to think through, where does this program fit in the overall marketing funnel? Number 2, how much time is it really going to take to bring this program to fruition? And 3, what's comparable? Who can you reach out to look at for some comparison pricing rates? All right, and that's tip 8 for pricing. So tip number 9 gets you to think about additional marketing at your event. You are now in the room, you've moved through some of your program, maybe you're about 50% into the weekend or the day, and people are starting to ask about what next. It's inevitable. If people are having a great experience with you, they're going to want to have more. So it's really important to start thinking before you get in the room about how you want to position additional marketing and let people know about what you have to offer. So a couple of considerations to think about before you actually move off to run the event. Would it be useful to have some sign-up sheets? Do you want to offer some sort of follow-on for people to sign up with you? Maybe it's part of the registration. Bring those sign-up sheets with you. What else do you have to offer? What else might people be interested in? Is there a follow-on program? Could they do some individual work? For myself, there are a number of products I've developed over the years, whether it's the visual cards like Conversation Sparker, or whether it is some workbooks, worksheets that will help deepen the learning for people and move them forward. It's useful to have samples and some product with you. What else do you offer? Have that available so people can look at it and also order it. So you'll want to have with you registration sheets and or any organizational material, maybe some brochures. People, hopefully at this point, really know, they like, and they trust you. They want more. So in your own way, in a value-add way, think about how you can be doing some additional marketing at your event. And this will take us into our bonus tip, which is all about staying connected. See you there.